Episode 73, Why Be Normal? Welcome to the Gayla Scrivener Show. I am so glad you're here today. Now, you're in the right place if you're looking for ideas and inspiration to start and grow your own small business. Not just any business, your work from anywhere small business. And just because you're a small business owner doesn't mean you think small. On the contrary, you think big. Now, I broke away from my 9-to-5 grind, stifled by a cubicle, to create a work-from-anywhere lifestyle. Now, having the freedom to work from practically anywhere is a cool feeling, yes. But here's the thing, though. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen without work. But all that time and effort, the learning and the stretching is so worth it. Now, every week in this podcast, I'm sharing my experiences that I've had in growing my small business and achieving the work from anywhere lifestyle. You too can experience wonderful adventure and freedom as you live life on your own terms. Today, as this podcast publishes, I am on my way to Chicago. And this is a very special trip for me. Kind of a difficult one. You see, I'm going to share on this week's episode a lot about my brother, Chris. Now, Chris is 3 years older than me. And I don't know if I had mentioned this on earlier episodes or anything, but he passed away last year. And last year was a very difficult year. I was very glad that I was able to be with him, his wife, and my parents at the very end. We came together and we had some very special moments and very special memories, even though it was a difficult time. But you see, as you're listening to this, or as this podcast is being released, and I'm on my way to Chicago, that's where my brother lived. He lived in Park Forest, just outside of Chicago, and that's where my sister-in-law still lives. Last year, when we were in the hospital, one of the last days, my sister-in-law, you see, I'm going to talk a little bit more about my brother, but this is why we're going to Chicago. My sister-in-law asked, while we were, walking down the hallway of the hospital, and I think we were going to eat or something like that. She's like, "Galen, does Robert like Iron Maiden?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." I didn't tell her I didn't know. I just said, "Sure, yeah." I mean, Robert's a musician. He likes all kinds of music. It's never come up in conversation in all the many years that I've known him. I said, "Sure, yeah, why?" She's like, "Well, Chris and I are really into Iron Maiden. It's one of their favorite groups. They had the opportunity to see a lot of concerts in Chris's lifetime. It was one of his joys. He was really into entertainment. He was really into a lot of different bands. And it wasn't just heavy metal type bands. I mean, he went and saw Cher, and he saw country music singers, and just the whole gamut. But their favorite group, and what they have a lot of memorabilia with, is Iron Maiden. And that's one of their favorite shows. He had asked a promise from his wife, Anna. He's like, "Anna, the next time that they're in town, promise me that you'll go see them." And she made that promise, but she didn't want to go by herself. So she asked Robert and I if we would go. And I said, "Sure." Now, Iron Maiden is not really what I listen to. But you know what? I'm really excited about the concert because I want to be brought into what he likes. A few days after I made this promise that I'd go with my sister-in-law, Anna, to this concert, my mom caught wind of it. And she's like, "Well, I want to go." I kind of took a double take and it's like, "Oh, my sweet 72-year-old mother wants to go to a heavy metal concert? Oh my gosh." I told Robert, he's like, "You know what? This is going to be an event. I don't know if I'm going to be watching the music as much as I'm going to be watching my mother. This is going to be a wonderful experience." So that's what we're doing right now, is driving up to Chicago and staying with my sister-in-law for a few days. We're going to go see Iron Maiden. We'll be decked out. I don't know how I'll be decked out, but I'm sure I'll be out on social. I'll do some selfies and things like that. Why I'm telling you this and why it's just on my mind is, and why I put the title of this week's episode of Why Be Normal. I've been thinking a lot about Chris. Obviously, it's a little past the year anniversary. I don't think that that's the right word of anniversary, but it's been a little over a year of his passing. And he was not quite 50 yet, and he was just too young. But he had been fighting and dealing with some health issues for many, many, many years. Serious health issues that unfortunately he had to contend with. But he lived his life on his terms, and I learned a lot from him. And what I'm remembering is this silly little button. You remember in the 80s when denim shirts were in and they had these little metal buttons or pins that you put on your denim jacket or whatever? Well, we had a few of those. Chris and I, he was decked out. He was pretty fashionable. That was the time, you dressed like Don Johnson from Miami Vice and things like that. But he had this button. It was a purple button that had white letters that said, "Why Be Normal?" Somehow, over the years, that button was lost or what have you. But anytime I'd see him, for some reason, that silly little button would come up. And I would threaten. He's like, I should go out and get one of those buttons and send it to him. I couldn't find one anywhere, but there's so many places that you could just get one custom done. And I never did it. I often think about that button. And he lived by that saying, and I'm so proud of him. That saying of why be normal. You see, he lived life to where even though he had a lot of challenges, he lived life on his terms. He liked what he liked. Now, some folks might have thought that he was odd with his collections. Now, he was really into Star Trek. He was really into music. He was into Star Wars and worldwide wrestling. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation. I don't know. He had obsessive collections, I would think, if you want to call it that. Because you could look at his place and see thousands of CDs, records, movies, all this entertainment. I mean, he had box sets and he had duplicates of some, but they were different because it was a special edition. And then there was the artwork that went with all this music and the CDs. Now, he was a DJ for radio stations before he got too sick and he could not fulfill his duties as a DJ any longer. But his passion for music and entertainment was so vast, and he enjoyed his collections. And he had, oh my goodness, like Star Trek toys and magazines and the movies, just a lot of things. And then he has the Iron Maiden. He has the Eddie, I can't even think right now. I do apologize. But he has all this memorabilia, the fan merchandise that goes along with several different bands and stuff. And then he has the Worldwide Wrestling Federation stuff and the belts and then the toys that go along with that. He knew the stories and the background and oh my goodness. And to some people, he might have been odd. But no, he enjoyed life how he enjoyed it. That taught me a lot because what is normal? I mean, really, what is normal? And why should we be so concerned that we conform to what is normal? Because I think for so many years, I was just trying so hard to be normal. And normal by other people's standards, not by my own. I admire Chris for being normal on his standards. Doesn't matter what other people think about what's normal. He liked what he liked. He was a very, very smart man and knew so much about so many things. Because of, some might say, his quirkiness or his collections or what he did, outsiders might have thought, "Oh, you're not normal." But who are they to judge? I mean, really, who are they to judge? I, for so many years, tried to conform to be normal. And it hasn't been until I left my corporate world. I left my corporate world because all my life, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to college. You're supposed to find a job. You're supposed to advance in that job. You're supposed to be married and have children and all of this stuff. I lived my normal life for 20 years. As I got older, there was this feeling that I was missing something or that there was more out there. And the opportunity came that I was losing my job and I really wanted to start my own business. And we were at this turning point, Robert and I were, that, hey, I'm closing down this business and, I need to travel from Florida to Colorado or to Alabama or to New Jersey or whatever, wherever I needed to travel. And typically for business travel, I would leave on a Monday, go to the site, and then Friday, go to the site. I would fly from Florida to, let's say, Colorado, and then fly home on Friday to be with my family, and then do it again on Monday. That was terribly wasteful with a company that did not, just really couldn't afford me traveling like that. And I wasn't supposed to move from that, from Florida. They weren't asking me of that, but it made more sense. My daughter had graduated high school. She moved out. And it was just Robert and I, and we were in Florida. Man, I was having this itch to travel anyway. We wanted to be together, and he was a full-time musician, and it worked out to where, why not just not rent in Florida anymore? And why can't we be, if I need to be in Colorado for a month, why not do that in an RV? Well, why don't we sell everything? That's not normal. Why don't we downsize so that we sell practically everything and live in an RV full time? What do you think about that, Robert? That's not normal. And he was thrilled. What I've learned from Robert, I've learned a lot from Robert. I don't think I would be brave enough to be an entrepreneur without Robert, because being married to a musician, he's used to the freelance type world instead of getting a paycheck every 2 weeks like I had since I was in high school. He has given me the courage to take the leap. We are not doing what's considered normal. And sometimes I still struggle with that because I am building a business to work with other small business owners. And we work behind the scenes helping with content marketing. And I have built a team of virtual assistants that specialize in content marketing, and they work remotely from their homes. It's not normal to want to live out of a vehicle. It's not normal for most people in my world to live in a rooftop tent in a 1998 Jeep Wrangler. And yes, we do have a 38-foot RV. That's kind of cool, but we really want to live in a place on wheels to where our front porch changes all the time. I think that the struggle of being normal to what other people's standards of normal is has slowed the piece that I want more than anything down of being more free to travel and travel on our own terms. Now, Robert and I do travel quite a bit more than most, but not as much as we'd like. Our big dream is to not set sail. I don't do well on water, but to set off on our journey of at least a year-long nomadic trip. And what ideally we would be going up into the Pacific Northwest and up into Alaska. But there's a lot more. But we say that we are held back because of our 3 wiener dogs. At least I say that a lot. And it just takes creativity to make things happen so that we will achieve that goal. So what is it in front of us that's, I don't think it's negotiable. I don't want to get rid of our 3 wiener dogs. And I don't think it's fair that my mother take care of them for a year long. A month is plenty for her to take care of them. So we are finding avenues to accommodate our lifestyle and our family. And yes, 3 wiener dogs are a part of our family. So that's what we need to do. And we're finding ways of achieving this goal. And as we are nomadic, then we figure out our schedule of working truly from anywhere and overcoming the challenges of internet connectivity and power and all of that stuff that you have to contend with. So this concert that we are going to this week has really gotten me thinking, this is not normal for me to go to a heavy metal concert. No, I don't. I barely go to see anybody in concert because mainly when there's a concert, I'm watching Robert play or he's playing and I'm at home working. This is different. For us, this isn't normal, and this is fantastic. And it may not be normal for others that are around me and know me in a certain way to think that it is normal for me to go to an Iron Maiden concert. Nor is it that people that I may know or some of my clients or some of my friends, my family, may think that it's abnormal for us to travel the way that we do. And they may think it's abnormal for us to build a business like we are. And when you're supposed to do certain things in a certain order, like, finish high school, go to college, find a job, be promoted for the job, find a husband, have children, all of that stuff to have this normal lifestyle, I want to challenge you. Who's to say that that's normal? We need to live life in our normal and stretch ourselves further so that we are achieving our goals and living the life that we truly want to have. Because, we don't know how long we're going to be on this beautiful earth of ours. We just don't. I think that we should all live life to its fullest and work to achieve the lifestyle that we really want and not live under the constraints of being normal under somebody else's definition. I kind of rambled on. In fact, I know I rambled on quite a bit on this, but I just felt it on my heart to share a little bit about my brother. Just share the phrase, why be normal? Embrace that saying. Embrace it as much as I have, because since taking the leap and starting our own thing and starting our work from anywhere lifestyle, it has not been easy, and it's certainly not normal to most people that we know, but it is so liberating. And so I challenge you to be normal within your world, not somebody else's definition, and to work for those goals, because you just don't know how long, you'll be around. Well, you're going to have to follow me on social media. I'm out there on Instagram and on Facebook under Gayla Scrivener. And you just need to follow me so that you can see us at Iron Maiden. Because it's not going to be normal to the standards that you might have thought of me. But I'm going to have a fantastic time. I know that he's going to be watching us and enjoying the concert just as much as we are. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and maybe you found me, sharing a little bit about my brother Chris and just my random thoughts here. I hope that you found it helpful. And if you have, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe. And I'm creating an online community for people just like you who want to take the leap and have a work from anywhere lifestyle, but they struggle. You struggle with direction, and quite frankly, you might struggle with the technical stuff, and that's okay. But I'm creating this community for people just like you. And if you're interested in becoming a founding member, please go over to gaylascrivener.com/member. That's GAYLASCRIVENER.com/member. Now put your name and email onto the wait list, and I'll follow up with you on the details as they develop. Thanks again for being with me today. And just remember, why be normal? Until next time, have a fantastic week.